The natural world contains about 8 million species, with 6 million species on land and 2 million in oceans. Although many scientists say the true figure could be millions more. Despite this staggering number, some of them ended up slightly stranger than the rest of the animal and underwater kingdom. Here are 14 of the strangest animals that inhabit our planet. Number 14. Ghost shark. When this newly hatched baby ghost shark was found by scientists off the coast of New Zealand's South Island in February 2022, it quickly went viral for its bizarre looks. These elusive creatures are rarely sighted, and very little is known about them. Even less are known about their young, and they were only discovered for the first time in 2002. These deep-sea denizens reside at depths of between 400 and 6,600 feet, where water temperatures are near freezing. Their dead eyes and large wing-like fins, a characteristic better suited to flying, gives rise to their ghoulish name. Despite the name, ghost sharks are not actually part of the shark family, rather they are a species of fish and have a skeleton made from cartilage instead of bone. Having a low-density skeleton, like cartilage, is crucial for life at depth as it won't collapse under increased pressure. Number 13. Sea pig. The sea pig is a species of sea cucumber named after its round body and pink coloring and is certainly one of the weirdest animals. These bloated, water-filled sausages can grow up to 15 centimeters in length and are found in all of the world's oceans. When there's a tasty meal to be had, for example, a whale corpse that has sunk to the seafloor, sea pigs will gather in their hundreds to take advantage of the feast, using a ring of feeding tentacles to shovel food into their mouths. Just like a real pig, they'll eat almost anything. These deep-sea vacuum cleaners have evolved for life at depth, specifically on the abyssal plain in the Atlantic Oceans. Sea pigs pump water around their bodies to keep themselves inflated, and bringing them too close to the surface causes them to shrivel up and die. They have a pretty effective defense too. Toxic chemicals in their skin deters predators from wanting to chow down on this forbidden sea bacon. Number 12. Pink fairy armadillo. The pink fairy armadillo is mostly an apt name. After all, this is a species that spends most of its time in a subterranean neverland and whose pink armor, sitting atop silky white fur, gives it an almost magical charm. However, it also has some rather unfairy-like qualities. Fairies, for instance, do not have robust digging claws. And fairies do not use their enormous bottoms to firm up the soil as they dig to strengthen the walls of their tunnels. This species of armadillo is found only in the deserts and scrublands of central Argentina. To limit the likelihood of heat exhaustion during the warm season, it uses its leathery shell as a cooling aid. By pumping this thin layer of armor with blood, the pink fairy armadillo can flush away heat from its body's core. This is an organism that doesn't spare its blushes. It depends upon them for survival. Like all fairies, the pink armadillo is hard to see. The only time these animals surface is when heavy rain forces them out of their burrows, often into the mouths of introduced predators such as domestic cats and dogs. Number 11. Great Potu. This tropical oddity, with enormous ping-pong ball peepers and a ridiculously oversized mouth, is one of our planet's most bizarre birds, the great Potu. Standing up to 60 centimeters tall and with a wingspan of over 70 centimeters, the great Potu is the largest member of the Caprimulgiformes, an order of birds that includes the nightjars and frogmouths. Nocturnal by nature, the great Potu has eyes that take up much of its skull, giving it excellent night vision, while unusual slits in the eyelids help it to sense the movement of approaching predators even while asleep. Native to South and Central America, the great Potu is a world leader at pretending to be a tree stump, spending most of its time perched upright on branches. During the day, its mottled feathers help it to hide from predators in plain sight. During the night, the bird has an excellent vantage point from which to pluck insects, such as beetles and moths, out of the air. The great Potu is also a talented vocalist. Its moaning growl sounds like an angry fox gargling a jajurmum. Happily, its call is likely to endure for years to come, as this avian oddball isn't listed as a threatened species. Number 10. Echidnas. South Australia is home to lots of amazing native species, and these guys are no exception. They can be found in many of South Australia's national parks and aren't as rare as you might think. Believe it or not, the spines you see on an echidna are actually long, tough, hollow hair follicles. These spines are an echidna's main line of defense when predators strike. When under threat, they will roll up into a ball of radiating spines to protect themselves or dig themselves to safety. As well as being covered in spines, echidnas are also covered in shorter fur to keep them warm. Along with the platypus, the echidna is the only other living egg-laying mammal species. Almost a month after mating, the female deposits a single, soft-shelled, leathery egg into her pouch. The gestation period is quite quick. After only 10 days the baby echidna hatches. Number 9. Star-nosed mole. This subterranean mammal looks like a furball trying to swallow a fat, fleshy spider. Native to the eastern parts of North America and Canada, it snuffles through the tunnels that it carves with its sturdy front claws. Living in the dark, its eyes are essentially useless, and it locates its prey via the 11 pairs of finger-like tentacles that surround its snout. This star-like appendage is densely packed with more than 100,000 nerve fibers, all squashed into an area smaller than a human fingertip. Thanks to the sensitive touch organ, the mole takes a mere 8 milliseconds to decide whether or not something is edible, identifying and eating a grub in less than a quarter of a second. So the next time you chide your teenager for bolting their meal, just be thankful they're not a star-nosed mole, the fastest eaters in the mammal kingdom. The mole can also smell in underwater tunnels by blowing air bubbles onto objects or scent trails and then re-inhaling the scented bubbles. Number 8. Tarsier. With bodies rarely above 15 centimeters long, tarsiers are one of the world's smallest primates, found in the forests of Malaysia and Indonesia. These largely solitary animals are the world's only entirely carnivorous primate, consuming a diet of insects, reptiles and birds, which they hunt at night. Their enormous eyes, which are densely lined with photoreceptive cells called rods, are specialized for seeing in dim light. If humans had similarly proportioned peepers, they'd be the size of grapefruits. Tarsier eyes are so big that they can't rotate in their sockets, so the animal has developed the ability to swivel its head almost 180 degrees in either direction to look around. Think Baby Yoda meets the Exorcist. Their large ears can detect the high frequencies emitted by their prey, and the structures also swivel, giving the tarsier excellent directional hearing. Their fingers are tipped with swollen pads, which helps them grip trees, and their long, springy legs allow them to leap distances of up to 5 meters. Number 7. Thistledown velvet ant. This creature is a misnomer wrapped in a cloak of punky white fuzz. It's a misnomer because the unusual critter is not an ant, it's a parasitic wasp that's native to the desert regions of the American Southwest. The white fluffy females are wingless and so superficially ant-like. In contrast, males have wings and a classic wasp livery of orange and black. This vibrant attire warns potential predators that the wasps are not to be crossed. Velvet ants have one of the longest stingers, relative to body length, of any bee or wasp. However, the female's appearance has been something of an enigma. Females look like the fuzzy seeds of the scrubby creosote bushes that grow where the wasps live, so experts had presumed that the insects had evolved their appearance as a form of camouflage. Cue experiments placing white-colored and vibrantly colored ants under heat lamps, and it seems that the female's white spiky coat helps it not to overheat. Number 6. Red-lipped batfish. No one knows exactly why the batfish sports its signature look, but it may help it to attract mates or to recognize others of the same species at spawning. The red-lipped batfish lives at depths of up to 75 meters in the waters surrounding the Galapagos Islands, where it is adapted to life as a bottom dweller, living and feeding on the seafloor. It is a poor swimmer, but modified fins act as makeshift legs, helping it to walk along the sand. Well, it's more of a froggy waddle, but when a little more speed is required, the batfish can push off with the pelvic fins beneath its body and use its muscular tail to propel itself through the water. The fish also sports a fleshy appendage on the top of its head called an elysium, which contains a chemical-emitting lure that's thought to help it attract the small fish and invertebrates on which it feeds. This fish is enigmatic, it's eccentric, and with no known predators, we should be able to enjoy its Instagram-worthy pout for some time to come. Number 5. Pacific barrel-eye fish. In 2004, a remotely operated vehicle filmed some extraordinary video that made headlines around the world. While exploring at a depth of 600 meters off the coast of California, the RoboSub captured the first footage of a living Pacific barrel-eye or spookfish. Previously, the googly-eyed, deep-sea fish had only ever been found dead. Those specimens have all lost a transparent hood that marine biologist Dr. Helen Scales, author of Eye of the Shoal, calls a clear bubble like an astronaut's helmet. Thanks to the video, a still from which appears here, scientists worked out that the barrel-eye's telescopic tubular eyes can swivel under their protective visor, enabling the fish to peer up, forwards or down. The ocean is a near limitless 3D environment, says Scales, so there's a selective pressure for the ability to scan above and below. Plenty more fish like this are probably waiting to be discovered. Number 4. Japanese spider crab. They may look like something from a 1950s sci-fi film, but Japanese spider crabs are gentle giants. Japanese spider crabs are the largest, spanning up to 12.5 feet from the tip of one front claw to the other. They're also one of the world's largest arthropods, animals with no backbone, external skeletons, and multiple jointed appendages. In this crab's case, those appendages are its 10 legs. Japanese spider crabs live on the Pacific side of Japan as far south as Taiwan, and at chilly depths ranging from 164 feet to as low as 1,640 feet. These slow-moving crabs don't hunt, preferring to scavenge for dead animal or plant matter, though they may also eat live fish or invertebrates such as other crustaceans. Number 3. Mantis shrimp. The mantis shrimp is a small, aggressive marine crustacean that inhabit tropical and subtropical waters of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. They are beautiful and vibrant in color, but also deadly, able to club prey with the force of a bullet or spike them with their sharp claws. The mantis shrimp is notorious for their striking force and have the nickname thumb splitter due to the painful gashes they can cause if handled without care by humans. There are around 450 species of mantis shrimp worldwide. The most infamous species is the peacock mantis shrimp, and is one of the larger, more colorful mantis shrimps commonly seen. They typically grow to around 10 centimeters in length, but some have been recorded to be as large as 46 centimeters. The mantis shrimp's shell covers only the rear part of the head and the first 4 segments of the thorax. While they are relatively common, they are not particularly well understood species as they are solitary and territorial sea creatures, spending most of their time hiding in rocks and burrowing in the seabed. They are most commonly found in U-shaped burrows at the base of coral reefs. Depending on the species, they can be active during the day or entirely nocturnal. Mantis shrimp are a violent predator, and their diet depends on the species. They can also prey on animals much larger than themselves due to their significant power. Number 2. Naked mole rat. Immune to pain, free from cancer and living in a highly developed society with a queen, is there nothing naked mole rats can do? Naked mole rats might not be the image of good looks, yet these wrinkly rodents might just hold the secret to healthy lives. Here are a few fun facts about these amazing dudes. Naked mole rats don't feel pain like other rodents. Their pain receptors are less sensitive, which means they can put up with hotter, harsher conditions. Unlike their rodent cousins, naked mole rats almost never succumb to cancer as they age. These wrinkly creatures can survive into their 30s, a span 5 times longer than expected for a mammal of their size. Naked mole rats' cooperative social behavior may contribute to their longevity. There is one breeding female called the queen, and the rest of the mole rats chip in to protect her and the colony from harm. Naked mole rat babies are born with unusually well-developed brains, more like newborn primates than rodents. Intriguingly, the makeup of their nerve cells is closer to humans than mice. Number 1. Sarcastic fringehead. It has an awesome name, with an attitude to match. The sarcastic fringehead is a big-mouthed, bulgy blinny that lives in the temperate coastal waters of California and Mexico's. These strange fish hang out in their ocean floor dens, which can be burrows, empty shells or even discarded plastic bottles. Males reverse in, bottom first, then defend their territories from other sarcastic fringeheads by slamming their huge, open mouths together. Laterally splayed jawbones and sail-like cheek membranes reveal a purple tongue, a double row of teeth, and a fluorescent yellow mouth rim. It's basically a who's got the biggest mouth competition, where the victor bags the best den and a chance to mate. After the female lays thousands of eggs in the prized location, and the male has fertilized them, he then defends his offspring with yet more oral aggro. The name fringehead refers to the floppy fronds of tissue that fall over the fish's eyes, while the term sarcastic is thought either to describe the animal's sardonic closed mouth expression or to derive from the Greek word sarkazane, which means to tear flesh. Either way, the only thing that's cutting about this fish is its set of teeth.